Hey everybody, Rhadamant here for episode 1 of Dawn of Man. In this Let's Play series, I'm going to be going over gameplay tutorial type stuff, as well as some advanced sort of tactics and strategies for this game. So thanks for tuning in. Let's get going. I'm going to start a new community in the Continental Dawn. I'm going to call it Ironhome, and let's start at the Forest River. In future Let's Play series, maybe I'll play on harder scenarios, on hardcore mode, but at least for this one, where I'm trying to demonstrate gameplay tutorial type stuff, I'd like to be able to pause. So the first thing I want to do here is to set up my UI. So I'm going to set my UI the way I like it. I'm going to put my inventory, and then general information, and then maybe animals. Over here, I'm going to put defense, food chart, and transports. All of this I'll explain later. All right, so you start off with 7 people. As you can see, 7 people here. I have capacity for 6. That means that one person isn't going to have shelter. I'm going to need to get shelter up quick. The first thing I want to do is to add some storage to my town here. So I'm going to add a storage tent, and I'm going to put a storage tent right next to this home here, and then additionally I'm going to put storage for stones. So go into storage again, or no, actually go into build storage rock pile. So we're going to have rocks and sticks next to the crafter. Now the crafter here, I'm going to right-click continuous production on wooden spears, wooden harpoons, and bifaces. Bifaces are very primitive knives. Continual production means that we are going to make, let's say bifaces. Bifaces are a type of knives. We're going to make bifaces, 1 for each person in our community. We have 7 people in the community. That means we'll make 7 of them. We start off with a few. We start off with 4 bifaces. This means that we'll continually making bifaces until we make 3 more. All right, so for these 7 people, the next thing I want to do is to set up a fishing zone. We start on this beautiful little river here. I might as well fish it. So looking at my fishing tools, I have 1 harpoon right now. So I'm going to set this work area for fish up to 1. And I'm going to set my limit of fish that I want up to 20. Next, let's see. I also want to get my residence up. So I'll put another residence right next to the original one, or the original 2. And for these residences, as you can see, we're going to need dry skin and sticks. So let's go and set up a gathering stick work zone right here. And we'll move around until we find some sticks. Here you can see there's abundance of sticks. They light up in these little yellow areas. We're going to set this for 2 people. And I want to get up to 30 sticks. And for animal skins, we're going to need to put some skin dryers. So this is where our storeroom is, and this is where our crafter is. So I think it makes the most sense to put my skin drying racks right next to, and I'll start off with 3, right next to the crafter, where we're going to need them. All right, so that is all set up. Then I'm going to hit Tab. Tab enters you into primitive vision mode to be able to see all of the animals around you. Green animals, bright green animals, pose very much no threat. They're either old or young animals. So as you can see, young female megaloceros. The adults, for instance, are a little bit different tinted, meaning they're a little bit more dangerous. And then what's really dangerous, like woolly rhinos or cave bears, are deep red. Now, they aren't necessarily going to predate me immediately. They're not going to come and try to kill me, but I need to be cautious about being near them. I went into this mode so that I could find some things to hunt. So now that I set the game speed up, let's see, 2 people, 3 people's spears. All right, these 3 here, I'm going to choose to hunt with, and I'm going to actually go after this cave bear. So with 3 of them selected, if I select the cave bear, they're going to prioritize that. Number keys 1 through 4 change the game speed. So this one with the biface, I'm going to have hang back a little bit, so the ones with the spears can start the fight. As you can see, this cave bear is getting ready to fight here. There we go. The fight started. Now your people are pretty hardy. If we select the ones being attacked, Drad is the most wounded. I can pull Drad away. I got Drad out of there just in time. And we now can butcher the bear. While we're... Yep, there we go. So this bear is going to have skins, meat, and bones, all of which we'll use. And Drad will slowly heal up over time. It was a close fight, though. The next thing I want to do is to set up a flint zone. So initially, most of our tools are going to be made out of flint. And if I set a flint zone next to this little flint deposit, we'll be getting flint. And I'm going to get flint up to a 20 limit. And I'm going to have 2 people queue up to do it. So one of the concepts in this game is you need to do certain tasks in order to gain research points. So if you hit F7, this is your research tree. I have 2 points for killing that cave bear. And for me to make bone tools, for instance, I need a total of 5 points. If you hit the number key 8, not F8, but just regular 8, you can see what will give you knowledge. So if I make 5 hearths, I gain some knowledge. If I kill 4 more cave bears, I gain some knowledge. If I build 3 more tents, I gain some knowledge. All these things will gain me knowledge. If I acquire more raw meat or more raw skins or more sticks, I gain knowledge. Pretty much everything you do will gain you knowledge. And then there is a maximum. So for instance, once I build 4 more hearths, because I start with 1, I will no longer gain knowledge after I have all 5 built. That's actually probably one of the things I like least about this game. I do find it a little weird that some buildings you don't need 5 copies of, like a crafter, but I will gain knowledge by building 5 crafters. There's really no point to building 5 crafters unless I really need the research points. So with that in mind, some of these buildings, like Skin Dryer, I can afford to build 5 copies of. They're not that expensive. But building 5 copies of a stone circle is very expensive, very time-consuming, and doesn't really make much sense. So I'm going to prioritize the Skin Dryer. And then we'll be able to start getting those raw skins dried out so that we can use them for construction. So as you can see here, I prioritize it by just clicking this up arrow, and it makes it so that they do that first and foremost. Now, if you prioritize everything, it's going to basically be worthless. You don't want to prioritize everything because then basically, effectively, nothing is prioritized. So be careful with prioritizing tasks. Now, other things I'd like to do is to set up a collect wild plants zone. There are a lot of random wild plants around that you can use to benefit you early on. So I'm going to set one zone up here and look around to see if there's any other wild plants nearby. One zone here. Oh, Drad already caught an infection. That's not good. They're the ones that fought the bear. As far as I know, there's not really an effective way to avoid infections, and they might claim your lives, but like I said, it's, as far as I know, unavoidable. So you just do your best. So next what I'm going to do is to take a look at the general map. There's a bunch of very vulnerable animals at the water's edge here. I'm going to forcibly use Aemon And can I find one other? Some of these are boys and girls. They're not full adults. So let's not use you two, but use you to go hunt some ibex. So as you can see, we built one skin dryer. We gained some knowledge. Not enough knowledge to unlock anything yet, but we're getting there. Actually, there's a cave lion in the water. When they're in the water, they're most vulnerable. Ideally, we would want to take it out while it's in the water, but it already crossed. All right, let's go for the adult here. Now, some of these creatures will flee. This ibex very likely will flee when I attack it, so it helps to have multiple attackers at once. You can queue up hunting zones like this, but you got to be careful because some enemies, or some enemy creatures I should call them, are going to be very, very tough for you to just hunt one-on-one. So now that I've killed this ibex, I did just get my first knowledge. I'll hit F7, and let's see, food drying would be very useful. That's probably my first thing I want. Because once we can dry some food, we will be able to store it for much longer of a duration. Now I also have to decide where my granary is going to be. So I'm going to put my first food dryer here. And my other hunters managed to snag the other ibex that I queued up. And now I'm going to order them to butcher those creatures. Both of the hunters, I believe, have bifaces. Yep, they both have bifaces. Alright, so we are drying out some of the skins here. But that also means that we're going to need this tent, this storage tent, as soon as we can. So I'm going to prioritize it. I'm also going to prioritize one more skin dryer because we will be able to process the furs that we have sooner. Any of these sort of tips that we have, I'm going to dismiss. I'll be explaining what they mean. So we have no flint, for instance. We did have a flint collection zone. Oh, and Drad, our huntress, ended up succumbing to her infection. There's really nothing for me to do there. She was destined to die when she got infected. All right, I can speed time up a little bit. Let's go ahead and find my zone here that I've been looking for. So the easiest way to do it is to select any work area and just sort of tab through them like this. And here's my flint work area right here. Now right now, I'm not gathering flint because everyone else is working on other more important things. What I can do is I can force one of them to go work towards flint. And I'll let him continue with the sticks. This extra skin dryer will prove to be pretty useful. Now if I wanted to force the flint, I would go ahead and deprioritize these, and the easiest way to force flint would be to just send one of the people like Jarkal here to go gather flint like this. The mine acts a little bit differently than just a pile of flint. There's literally an ibex walking through my town here. Now the children can gather sticks and stuff. They're not totally useless. One thing I will do is any animal that passes right through my town will get hunted. There's really no reason not to. So here, Jarkle grabbed 2 things of flint, and he needs some rest. Now the UI here will tell you at a glance what you need to do. I have an abundance of food, sort of staying above this gray line is advised. I have wooden spears for everyone, almost bifaces for everyone. So as you can see, I'm not going to be queuing up wooden spears anymore. I have enough. Skin outfits, I have 1 for everyone. I have a lot of raw skins that I need to process into dried skins. When people are hungry, they'll cook for themselves at the hearth. I'm going to have Varkol here, or Varrock here rather, make this other skin dryer. And I can speed time up a little bit. Now no one can immigrate to my town here until I build this extra tent. So that's also going to be a goal of mine. And here is my storage tent. So all these no storage slot warnings that I've been getting soon will subside. I've been given quite a lot of warnings. Now it looks like my hearth needs more fuel. I'm going to select cut. Oh, I don't have composite tools, that's right. I can't fuel this with logs. So here's the storage hut, or storage tent, I should call it. This allows for goods to be stored in that aren't rocks or sticks, and they decay slower when it's stored in there. So that's very good for food. Next, I'm going to want my food dryer built, and this tent is getting built as well. So we're fueling the hearth with sticks, which is inefficient. Eventually we'll get it fueled with logs. And this food dryer is also equally important because that will allow us to dry out our raw meat and raw fish into dried meat and cured meat and cured fish, which we'll keep for the winter. Because without that, the food would then spoil a lot faster. Okay, we have built the tent. There are some wild horses here and 2 potential hunters standing right next to them, so I'm just going to go ahead and force a hunt. One of them didn't have harpoons. Now what they will do is they'll do some persistence hunting if they don't kill it immediately. And as you can see, the horse has a stamina bar, but can get away. If I don't catch up next to it in time, it will successfully flee. And this one might end up fleeing from me. Nope, I got it. And I obtained knowledge for that hunt. Fighting novel creatures, very, very useful early game, because each novel creature that you can hunt will give you some knowledge immediately. So Jarkle, let's try to take down a young Megaloceros. And that will give us enough knowledge to unlock something new. So here it is, a wounded young Megaloceros, knowledge obtained. And if you want to track your knowledge, like I said, the 8th key allows you to track all the animals you've hunted. So 2 more ibex and I get some more knowledge, or 4 more Megaloceros, so on and so forth. Let's spend this new knowledge on, maybe sling making. That way we can hunt a little bit more efficiently. So back at the crafting tent, I'll right-click sling to make automatically. And if we hit F4, we can see that we'll make enough for, let's say, 75% of our population. We'll want slings, and 75% will want bows. The food dryer is now constructed. The next thing I want to make is a skull pole. So a skull pole is a spiritual object which allows your people to regain morale on. I know it looks like a creepy effigy, but it actually cheers them up. I don't know why. There's some more Megaloceros wandering through my community. I might as well take them out if I can. It's weird that you're rewarded science for basically murdering everything you can, everything around. But that's just the way this game works, so don't fault the game. Just kill everything within your reach to butcher. Now, hopefully, I'll get some people to join me soon. More hands makes for more productive communities. And I'll set up some additional skin dryers. And speed time up a little bit. So there's a lot of UI that I haven't gone over. F1 is your sort of general help. F2 is some stats. Welfare is sort of how well are they clothed, how well are they fed, what is your food surplus. Prestige is what kind of nice objects you've made. Now, the biggest part of prestige is in spiritual objects. The stones, the menhir, the dolmen, and the stone circle are sort of the big prestige items. But even these little tents give 1 prestige each. The crafter, no, none. The storage tent gives 1 prestige. These little things give prestige. This skull pole, once constructed, will give some prestige. So you can get prestige from a variety of ways. And that was in F2. Then it gives you a general overview of your humans, how many adults, elderly, animals that you have, transports. F3 is sort of your inventory, your full inventory at a glance. F4 is the limits. So this is the limit of amount that you want to obtain something. So for instance, I can say I want clothes for 125% of everyone. And instead of making 6, I'll make, 7 or 8 instead. So this is a good way to sort of limit. Also, for instance, let's say you have a farm of 10 sheep. They're going to procreate. What you could do is you could set it to 10 sheep, and any 1 sheep over the 10 limit gets slaughtered for meat. So it's a good way to sort of automate your farming. F5 is your charts. So the workload chart is something that you want to look at probably the most, but you have the amount of your domestic animals, the amount of your population, the amount of your straw. Straw is a resource that you get from farming that allows you to construct better buildings and repair buildings. The amount of your food. The reason why I say your workload is if you have too many things queued up, your people just simply won't be able to do all those tasks. So I tend to watch my workload often, because if you have too much workload, you're going to need to reduce the amount of workload. So let's go ahead and do that right now. I'm going to reduce... Ooh, we have some cave bears wandering through. That's not safe. I'm going to reduce the amount of sticks I'm gathering to 2 people, the flint down to 1 person. I'm going to get rid of this collect wild plant zone. I don't really need emmer or lentils or any of that. I've been hunting. And then if we go back here, once it re-registers the changes I've made, you'll see a difference in workload. I will keep 1 fisherman though. There's only so much fish in the river, so eventually I'll deplete the fish. But for now, it is helpful. This food dryer is just about full, so I ought to add an additional one. And I have enough to unlock some additional research. Let's go into bone tools. And now for hunting, we'll get rid of the wooden spears and start making bone spears. And we'll get rid of the wooden harpoons and start making bone harpoons. They are more effective than their wooden counterparts. So now I've queued up to make enough for everyone. So we have 10 bones in storage from the hunting that we've done so far, and I just told them to focus on making bones. What will eventually happen is you get traders to visit your community, and you can trade off your old tools, your wooden ones, to the traders. They won't pay much for it, but they'll pay enough to, you know, take it off your hands. So let's go, and you can see the workload has dramatically dropped because I removed some tasks. F6 is your defenses, but I have that up here. Alert, what we'll do is anyone that has a weapon will stand at the ready where the raiders, human raiders, are coming to, and then everyone else goes inside, and you can also open and close all gates automatically. F7 is your techs, and F8 is your domestic animal overlay. F9 is, of course, quick save, and F10 is menu, so on and so forth. And then also, 1 through 4 is game speed, and then once you hit 5, you have milestones. So these milestones will give you some knowledge. So for instance, accumulate 3 units of raw meat and 3 units of berries. That's an easy milestone to meet. Milestones are also very dependent on your map. Each map has their own milestones. So right now I'm looking for berries. I hit tab to go into my my survival overview. And as you can see, these raspberries can only be harvested in summer. Right now it is fall. So I'm not going to be able to meet that requirement this season. I'm trying to hunt an old reindeer. Really, any old creature is going to be, older young creatures are going to be a lot easier for you to hunt. So blueberries, once again, can only be done in summer. Oh, this wolf killed another reindeer. How wounded is this wolf? It's an adult male. Yeah, I'm not going to be messing with that wolf. The wolf stole my kill, though. I'm a little peeved. That's okay. So back to 5 key hunt. Looking at the milestones, the other ones I can do is survival, survive 2 years. Humble beginnings, unlock the Mesolithic era. Keep my eye on that. F6 is sort of the activities. So if you have people that are unproductive, it means you need to queue up more tasks. Subsisting just means they're like resting or healing or whatever. And then if you hit 7, you can see the tasks that are pending. So gathering sticks or curing meat. And then F8, or rather regular 8, is just your knowledge. So for instance, if I make 1 more skin dryer, which I have queued up, I will unlock some knowledge. And that doesn't mean you need all 5 constructed at once. I could break down this old skin dryer and then rebuild it, and it will still credit me with the progress. So this food dryer is just about full. And you can also queue up what kind of food you want to dry. So if you wanted to do meat only or fish only, that is available as an option. So let's make another food dryer, given that our first one is full up. And soon, when this all cures up, you will see my food go up a lot. Once this is added to my my stockpiles. So let's check F5. Looks like my workload is a little light. All that means is that I can find some creatures to hunt. So let's see. You are an adult woman who has not a bone harpoon. We want to be making those. I have my crafter as a high priority. But at the moment, none of the bones are brought back to the base. I think that's kind of the problem that I'm currently facing. Doing some cooking. There is a lot of sort of megafauna, dangerous megafauna around. So I gotta keep my eye open. We have acquired 10 cured meat, so that's some knowledge right there. There's some creatures going right through our town here. As you can see in the F2 menu, I am taking care of everyone. The higher the welfare, the more likely that adult females are to get pregnant and that immigrants are going to join your community. So those definitely... Oh, and here's some traders that I spotted before they even arrived. So when they arrive, you can click on them, and I'll be given the option of selling some of my own stuff and trading for some of their stuff. Sometimes they'll have technology to trade for, but usually the technologies are pretty expensive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy their logs and one of their pulses here. I'm going to sell an old wooden spear, and that is all I can afford. I'm going to buy more straw, though, so let's find something else to sell. Sell some bones. The trade is now equal, and everything I traded for, they'll drop in the ground. So the reason I bought logs is I can't manufacture them myself yet. I bought the pulses because it's food, and the straw because, well, it's good to stockpile straw because later on you need a lot of it. And now it's telling me about clothing because I'm heading into winter. So during the winter, the skins that I normally wear provide warmth. So we don't need to worry about warm clothing. I have enough for everyone. But in the summers, you're going to want lighter clothing. You're going to want either leather outfits or linen outfits to be able to protect yourself from the heat. All right, I'm going to queue up some bone spears myself, because I would like... Right now we have a bunch of wooden spears. I'd rather have bone spears. They do a little bit more damage to enemies. So if you look, hunting 1, fighting 1, hunting 2, fighting 2. They're improved. And then we can put the old wooden spears in storage. So as you can see, now we have a bunch of bone spears equipped, which will make our guys far more effective at hunting than they were before. Now my food is reading a little low, so I'm going to grab one of the people floating around here. We've been collecting a lot of sticks. So let's see. Adult woman, no weapon. Boy, no weapon. Girl, no weapon. You have a weapon. And you have a weapon. It's time to hunt some pig. Some boar. So you can see the old man can't catch up the way the adult one can. There is some penalties for age. There we go. Hunt our first boar. Bagel here has a biface, so no problem there. We can butcher it. Where'd the other one go? Bagel's inventory is currently full, so he's running home first. So maybe I'll have Jarkle butcher it. All right, put your stuff away and find a new target. 2 new people join the settlement here. Look at this mad chase. So we had 2 people join, which will add to our workforce. Do you have a spear? Yes, you do. Let's get on that. Oh, perfect. Teamwork. Trying to increase our food stocks. Now our total population capacity is only 1 over our current residences, our shelters. So I'm going to definitely add to the group. I'm sort of having like a neighborhood block here. And what we're doing here is we're stockpiling the houses with food and tools. Oh, that's where my bones were stored. Your houses initially can store some tools. Okay, so we have 6 bone spears. We have people that are going to go fetch. Oh, you are a little ill. Temperature, he was too cold. So adding to the population. And butchering our kills. So they're going to go out and fetch stuff. And I survived my first winter. Well, I'm going to pause it here. And this will be the end of episode 1. If you have any questions for me or feedback of any kind, drop me a line. You can expect these episodes to come out every Saturday and Wednesday. So if you're interested in this series, that's when you should look for these episodes. And I'll have to catch you all later. So I hope you've all enjoyed this new series, and I hope it has been informative and helps you. I didn't really go over all of the tutorial stuff, but as things arise, I will address it. So I hope you tune in next time. Thanks for watching, and adios.